Welcome back to the Newell Elementary Science Fair Project Student Handbook. In this video, we will be looking at experiment projects, specifically Step 3, writing your proposal. At this point, you've done Step 1, which is picking your topic, and Step 2, which is coming up with your testable question with some background research. Now you're ready to plan out what it is you are going to do. That is what your proposal is. It is a plan for your experiment. The better and more detailed your plan, the better your project will be. This is due to your teacher by December 15th. The first part of the proposal is a repeat of what you already wrote in Step 1, which is your topic, and in Step 2, your resources from your research, as well as your testable question. Once you have a testable question, you need to think about what you think the answer is to that question, and that is your hypothesis. You explain what you think the answer is going to be and why, basing your reasoning on your new knowledge. That's why you needed to do research before you started your project, so that you had some knowledge that you can create your hypothesis on. Once you have your hypothesis, you're going to think about what it is you're going to do. That's where materials and procedure come in. Your procedure is exactly the steps you're going to follow to do your experiment. Not how you're going to put your display board together, not gathering materials to get your display board together. We're talking about the experiment itself. When you are going to test that question, to test your hypothesis, what is it you're going to do? Listing it step by step by step. There's space here for 8 steps, but if you have more than 8 steps, you're welcome to get more paper and just staple it on and continue your steps. With those steps, you know you need materials. Be specific when listing your materials. How much of each item do you need? And this is where you need to be making sure that you have at least 3 trials with your experiment. So for example, with the question that we looked at in the other video about which fertilizer makes the best plant or grows plants the best, I would need to have at least 3 trials for that. Not just 3 different kinds of fertilizer, but 3 plants per each kind of fertilizer. So if I have fertilizer number 1, I'm going to have 3 plants that get fed fertilizer number 1. If I have fertilizer number 2, I have 3 plants that get fed fertilizer number 2. If I have fertilizer number 3, I have 3 plants that get fed fertilizer number 3. I also need to have a control, which would be the plant that doesn't get any fertilizer, it just gets water. And so I would have 3 plants for my control. That way you have very valid results at the end. So once you have your materials listed and exactly how many you need, and you've got your procedure steps, how you're going to go about doing this, then you're going to go back and you're going to talk about what your control is. And when we talk about control, we're talking about what is not changing in your experiment. What stays the same across the whole experiment. In my fertilizer example, the only thing I'm changing is the type of fertilizer I'm using. So I'm going to water my plants the same. I'm going to put them all in the sunshine the same. I'm going to put them in the same size pots. I'm going to use the same type of plant for all of them. The only thing I'm changing is the type of fertilizer, because that's what I'm testing. I want to know which fertilizer does the best. And so my controls, in this case, it would be more than 1. This says 1 part, but you can have more than 1 control, and you probably should have more than 1 control. Once you have that completed, you're ready to present it to your teacher. Before you present it to your teacher, though, you need to run it by your parents. Your parents need to know what you're doing for your experiment, because they're going to probably be the ones that have to buy your supplies for it, and in some cases help you out with the experiment. So make sure you've shown your parents this. They have to sign that they know what you're doing. Once your teacher approves it, they sign, and then you sign, and you're ready to go. Make sure, though, that if you are not too sure about your project, that you get it turned in before December 15th, because then you'll have time, if your teacher has suggestions or things that need to be changed, you'll have time to fix them before they're due on December 15th.